Imagine this. You meet someone who feels like the missing piece of your soul. Your heart races. Your days feel brighter. And suddenly, the world seems to revolve around them. You pour your energy into this love, reshaping your plans, your habits, even your dreams, to fit theirs. But one day, you wake up and realize you've lost something yourself. The goals you once chased, the values you held dear, the person you were building, they've faded in the shadow of this relationship. Sound familiar? This is the trap of love in the modern world, where we're taught that love should consume us, complete us, define us. But what if there's another way, a way to love deeply without losing your path? Welcome to a journey through the Stoic approach to relationships, where love doesn't derail you but strengthens the person you're becoming. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, isn't just about enduring hardship or suppressing emotions. It's about living with clarity, purpose, and inner strength, even in the most vulnerable moments like love. Today, we're diving into how Stoicism can guide you to love authentically, without sacrificing your identity or your growth. In our world, love is often sold as a fairy tale. Movies, songs, and social media paint it as a cure-all, a force that sweeps you off your feet and fixes every void. But the reality is messier. Love comes with expectations, disappointments, and changes that can shake your foundation. You might face rejection, unrequited feelings, or the slow drift of a partner's affection. These challenges can make you question your worth, or tempt you to abandon your principles just to hold on. Stoicism offers a different perspective. Love isn't about losing yourself to someone else's story. It's about building a connection that aligns with your own. Let me tell you about James, a man in his 30s who came to me for advice. He was successful, driven, and had a clear vision for his life until he fell in love. His partner was everything he thought he wanted: charming, ambitious, full of life. But as their relationship deepened, James started bending. He skipped workouts to spend more time with her, neglected his career goals to support hers, and even adopted opinions that weren't his own. When the relationship ended, he didn't just lose hair, he lost himself. "I don't even know who I am anymore," he said. That's when he discovered Stoicism, and it changed everything. By focusing on what he could control, his actions, his values, his growth, James rebuilt his path and learned to love without surrendering his identity. This video is for anyone who's ever felt torn between love and their own purpose. Maybe you're navigating a new relationship, healing from a breakup, or wondering how to balance your heart with your ambitions. We're going to explore love through the Stoic lens, asking hard questions. Why does love feel conditional? Why do feelings change? And how do we accept that without bitterness? Can love coexist with independence, or is it meant to complete us? And how does a Stoic, especially a man, handle the challenges of expectations, rejection, or unrequited love? Here's what we'll cover. First, we'll unpack the truth about conditional love, rooted in biology and psychology, and why accepting it sets you free. Then, we'll see how Stoics view change in relationships, not as betrayal, but as a natural law. We'll challenge the idea that love is a cure, showing instead that it's a partnership for those already whole. We'll draw on Stoic wisdom to redefine love as resonance, not completion, and share practical ways to stay grounded when love tests you. Finally, we'll look at how a Stoic man faces love's toughest moments with strength and clarity. By the end, you'll see that true love doesn't pull you away from yourself. It reminds you of who you're becoming. So, let's begin this journey with Stoicism as our guide to love fiercely, wisely, and without losing your path. Let's face it, love is rarely the unconditional fairy tale we're sold. We grow up hearing stories of soulmates who love each other no matter what, through every flaw and failure, forever and always. But the reality of relationships, whether romantic, familial, or even friendships, tells a different story. Love often comes with conditions shaped by human needs, desire, and biology. And that's not a flaw, it's a feature of being human. Stoicism, with its unflinching focus on reality, teaches us to embrace this truth about love without resentment or illusion. By understanding the conditional nature of love, we can navigate relationships with clarity, preserve our inner strength, and love without losing ourselves. So, what is conditional love? At its core, it's love that depends on certain factors: attraction, behavior, shared values, or mutual benefit. Think about it. You're drawn to someone because of their kindness, their ambition, or the way they make you feel. If those qualities change, the love often changes too. This isn't cynicism, it's psychology. Evolutionary biology tells us humans form bonds to meet needs: survival, reproduction, emotional security. In ancient times, choosing a partner meant ensuring food, protection, or social stability. Today, those needs might look like emotional support, shared goals, or physical chemistry. But the principle remains: love is tied to conditions, whether we admit it or not. Consider Sarah, a young professional who fell for her partner because of his drive and optimism. They built a life together, planning a future around their shared ambition. But when he lost his job and sank into apathy, Sarah's feelings shifted. She felt guilty, as if her love should have stayed unwavering. Society told her love should be unconditional, but her heart told a different story. This is where Stoicism steps in. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, you are not disturbed by things, but by the views you hold about them. Sarah wasn't wrong for feeling differently. She was human. Her love was conditional, rooted in the qualities that first drew her to her partner. Accepting this as natural, not shameful, freed her to approach the relationship with honesty. Stoicism doesn't ask us to reject conditional love or pretend it's something it's not. Instead, it urges us to see it clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This doesn't mean love blindly or ignore conditions. It means recognizing that love operates within the boundaries of human nature, our needs, our flaws, our circumstances, and choosing to love fully within those bounds. By doing so, we avoid the trap of idealizing love as something it can never be. Let's break this down further. Psychologists like Robert Sternberg describe love as a triangle of intimacy, passion, and commitment. Each component depends on conditions. Intimacy grows from trust and shared vulnerability. Passion thrives on attraction and chemistry. Commitment relies on mutual effort. If one of these shifts, say, trust is broken or attraction fades, the love changes. Stoics would nod at this. They understood that external factors, like a partner's actions or life's unpredictability, are outside our control. What we can control is how we respond, whether we cling to illusions or accept reality with courage. Take the example of ancient Rome, where Stoicism flourished. Marriages were often strategic, based on alliances, wealth, or social status. Love, if it existed, was a bonus, not the foundation. Yet Stoics like Seneca didn't despair over this. In his letters, he advised, "If you wish to be loved, love." This wasn't a call for blind devotion, but a reminder to focus on your own actions. Love generously, but don't expect it to defy human nature. When conditions shift, as they often do, you remain steady because your love is rooted in your own virtue, not someone else's behavior. Now, you might be thinking, doesn't this make love sound transactional? Not quite. Conditional love isn't about keeping score or demanding quid pro quo. It's about recognizing that relationships thrive on mutual exchange effort, respect, shared values. The problem comes when we deny this reality and expect love to exist in a vacuum. I once knew a man named David who stayed in a toxic relationship because he believed love should endure no matter what. His partner disrespected him, ignored his needs, and drifted away emotionally. Yet David clung to the idea that true love meant staying. Stoicism would have saved him years of pain. By accepting that love depends on conditions like respect and mutual growth, David could have set boundaries or walked away without guilt. So, how do we apply this Stoic wisdom today? First, reflect on the conditions of your own love. What draws you to someone? Their humor, their values, their presence. Be honest about what you need and what you offer. This isn't selfish, it's clarity. Second, let go of the myth of unconditional love. It's a beautiful idea, but it sets us up for disappointment. Instead, love with intention, knowing that conditions exist, and that's okay. Finally, focus on what you control, your actions, your integrity, your response to change. If a partner no longer meets your conditions, you can choose to communicate, adapt, or part ways with dignity. This Stoic approach liberates us. When we stop fighting the reality of conditional love, we stop feeling betrayed by it. We don't waste energy chasing an impossible ideal. Instead, we love with eyes wide open, grounded in our own strength. As Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Life, including love, is imperfect, but by accepting its conditions, we find freedom to love authentically, without resentment, without illusion, and without losing our path. One of the hardest truths about love is that it changes. The fiery passion of a new romance cools, the roles you play in a relationship shift, and the person who once felt like your everything might one day feel like a stranger. This can sting deeply, especially when we're taught to see change as failure or betrayal. But Stoicism offers a different perspective. Change in emotions and relationships is not a sign of brokenness. It's a natural law, as inevitable as the seasons or the tides. By embracing this, we can navigate love's shifts with grace, stay true to ourselves, and find peace in the impermanence of human connection. Let's start with a simple truth. Nothing in life stays the same, including how we feel. Biology drives this. Our brains are wired to respond to novelty, releasing dopamine when we first fall in love, creating that intoxicating rush. Over time, as familiarity sets in, that chemical high fades, and emotions evolve. This isn't a flaw, it's how we're built. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill way. Adapt to what once thrilled us, and our feelings adjust to new realities. In relationships, this might mean passion gives way to companionship, or shared dreams shift. As life's demands change, Stoics understood this long before modern science. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by, and another takes its place." Love, like all things, flows with that current. Consider the story of Elena, a woman in her late 20s who married her college sweetheart. In the early years, their love felt unshakable late-night talks, shared adventures, a sense that they were invincible together. But as they entered their 30s, life changed. Elena pursued a demanding career. While her husband focused on starting a family, their priorities diverged, and the spark they once shared dimmed. Elena felt betrayed, wondering, if he loved me, wouldn't he still make me feel the way he used to? But Stoicism would challenge her view. The change in their emotions wasn't a betrayal, it was a reflection of life's natural ebb and flow. By accepting this, Elena could focus on what she controlled: her communication, her effort, and her own growth. Stoics teach us to see change as neither good nor bad, but simply as reality. Epictetus, a former slave who became a Stoic master, said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." In love, we cannot control how someone else feels, or even how our own emotions shift over time. What we can control is our response. Instead of clinging to the past or resenting change, we can choose to adapt, to cherish what was, and to build anew. This mindset frees us from the pain of seeing change as a personal attack. Let's look at history for perspective. In ancient Rome, where Stoicism thrived, relationships were shaped by practical need saliences, status, or survival. Yet even in such pragmatic unions, emotions fluctuated. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and advisor to Emperor Nero, wrote about his own marriage with a tenderness that shows love's depth, but he also acknowledged its impermanence. In his letters to Lucilius, he advised, "You must reflect that all things are subject to change, and that includes your own mind." Seneca didn't mourn this. He saw it as a call to live fully in the present, loving with intention while knowing nothing lasts forever. This Stoic wisdom applies to modern love, too. Take the case of Michael, a man who faced a painful breakup after a decade-long relationship. He and his partner had grown apart, their once shared vision fractured by different life goals. Michael initially saw this as a failure, blaming himself for not keeping the spark alive. But through Stoicism, he reframed the change. Their love hadn't failed it, had simply run its course, as all things do. By focusing on what he could control, his healing, his values, his future, Michael found peace. He realized that the end of a relationship didn't erase its meaning. It was a chapter, not the whole story. So, how do we live this Stoic truth in our relationships? First, accept that change is inevitable. The person you love today won't be the same person in 10 years, and neither will you. Instead of fighting this, embrace it as part of the human experience. Second, practice gratitude for the present. Marcus Aurelius advised, confine yourself to the present. Savor the moments you share now, knowing they won't last forever. Third, focus on your own actions. You can't control your partner's feelings, but you can control how you show up with kindness, honesty, and integrity. Let's make this practical. Next time you feel hurt by a shift in your relationship, maybe your partner seems distant or the passion has faded, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is this change within my control? If not, how can I respond with strength? Maybe it's a conversation to realign your goals, or maybe it's accepting that the relationship no longer serves your path. Either way, you act from a place of clarity, not reaction. This is the Stoic way to face change, not with fear, but with wisdom. By seeing emotions as part of nature's rhythm, we stop viewing change as betrayal. We stop chasing the impossible dream of a static love. Instead, we love with open eyes, knowing that every relationship, like every life, is temporary. This doesn't diminish Love it deepens it. As Seneca put it, we must love, knowing that we will lose, and in that knowledge, love more fiercely. Change is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It reminds you to stay anchored in your own path, to love without clinging, and to find strength in life's inevitable flow. We live in a world that romanticizes love as a magical fix. Songs, movies, and social media tell us that the right partner will heal our wounds, fill our emptiness, and make us whole. It's a seductive idea. Find the one, and all your insecurities, fears, and struggles will vanish. But Stoicism cuts through this illusion with a sobering truth. Love is not a cure for your inner voids. It's not meant to save you from yourself. Instead, love is a partnership that thrives when you've already built a foundation of inner strength. By embracing this Stoic perspective, you can approach relationships with clarity, avoid dependency, and love without losing your path. Let's start by unpacking the myth. Many of us enter relationships hoping they'll fix something broken inside us. Maybe you feel lonely, unworthy, or adrift, and you think a partner's love will make you feel complete. This is what psychologists call external validation, seeking self-worth from someone else's affection. The problem: no one can fill a void that you haven't addressed yourself. If you rely on love to cure your insecurities, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. When the initial rush of romance fades, as we learned, it always does, you're left facing the same inner struggles. Now tangled with the pressures of a relationship, Stoicism offers a different approach. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of love, this means your happiness and sense of self must come from within, not from a partner. Before you can love authentically, you need to cultivate what the Stoics called eudaimonia, state of flourishing that comes from living according to reason and virtue. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being whole enough to stand on your own. So love becomes a shared journey, not a crutch. Consider the story of Anna, a woman in her early 30s who spent years chasing love. To escape her feelings of inadequacy, she jumped from one relationship to another, hoping each new partner would make her feel worthy. But every time, the pattern repeated. The excitement faded, her insecurities resurfaced, and the relationship crumbled. Exhausted, Anna stumbled across Stoicism and began to shift her focus inward. She started small, journaling her values, practicing gratitude, setting boundaries. Over time, she built a sense of self that didn't depend on someone else's approval. When she entered her next relationship, it felt different. She wasn't looking for a savior, she was looking for a partner to walk alongside her. This is the Stoic ideal. Love as a companion to a life already rich with purpose. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In relationships, this means your partner's love can't fix your distress only. You can, by changing how you view yourself and your life. When you're grounded in your own strength, love becomes an enhancement, not a necessity. Let's look at history for inspiration. Seneca, another Stoic thinker, faced immense personal and political turmoil. Yet he wrote about cultivating inner peace regardless of external chaos. In his letters to Lucilius, he advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you, but do not expect them to complete you." Seneca's marriage to his wife, Paulina, was a partnership of mutual respect, not dependency. He valued her not as a solution to his struggles, but as a companion who shared his commitment to a virtuous life. This Stoic approach allowed Seneca to love deeply while remaining anchored in his own principles. So, how do we build this inner sufficiency? Stoicism offers practical tools. First, practice self-reflection. Take time each day to ask, what are my core values? Am I living in alignment with them? Journaling can help clarify this. For example, if honesty and growth are your values, are you pursuing them independently of your relationships? Second, embrace discomfort. Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, visualizing challenges to prepare for them. Imagine your relationship ending or your partner disappointing you. How would you stand strong? This exercise builds resilience, so you're not shaken when love doesn't fix everything. Third, cultivate gratitude for what you already have. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the impermanence of life to appreciate the present. Try this each morning. Write down 3 things you're grateful for about your strengths, your progress, your ability to grow. This shifts your focus from seeking validation to recognizing your own worth. Finally, set boundaries. Love doesn't mean giving up your needs or values. If a relationship demands you compromise your core self, it's not love, it's dependency. Let's make this real with an example. Meet Tom, a man who felt unlovable after a string of rejections. He thought a partner's affection would prove his worth, but through Stoicism, he learned to redefine himself. He started meditating on Epictetus's words. What need is there to seek happiness outside yourself? Tom invested in his passions, writing, fitness, volunteering, and slowly built a life he was proud of. When he met his current partner, he didn't need her to complete him. He wanted her to share in his journey. Their love grew stronger because it was built on mutual independence, not desperation. Here's a practical exercise to try. Take a notebook and write down what you hope love will fix in your life: loneliness, insecurity, a lack of purpose. Then, for each item, list 1 action you can take to address it yourself. For example, if you feel lonely, join a community group or call a friend. If you lack purpose, explore a hobby or set a small goal. This exercise, rooted in Stoic self-reliance, helps you see that you are the source of your own healing. Love can amplify your joy, but it's not the cure. By embracing this truth, you free yourself from the pressure to find a perfect partner who solves everything. You stop placing impossible expectations on love. Instead, you enter relationships as a whole person, ready to share your strengths and grow alongside someone else. As Seneca wrote, "The happy man is content with his own condition, whatever it may be." When you're content with yourself, love becomes a beautiful addition to your life, note, a desperate attempt to fill a void. This is the Stoic way, to love fiercely, but never at the cost of your own soul. We've all heard the cliché, "You complete me." It's a romantic notion, immortalized in movies and love songs, suggesting that true love is about finding someone who fills the gaps in your soul. But Stoicism challenges this idea with a profound alternative. Love isn't about completing each other, it's about resonating together. Like 2 instruments playing in harmony, love thrives when 2 independent individuals align in purpose, values, and growth. This Stoic perspective shifts love from dependency to partnership, allowing you to love deeply while staying true to your own path. Let's explore how Stoic wisdom, contrasted with modern myths, can redefine love as a powerful resonance between 2 whole selves. The idea of love as completion is deeply ingrained in our culture. From Plato's myth of soulmates to modern rom-coms, we're taught that we're incomplete until we find the one. This sets up a dangerous dynamic. You enter relationships expecting your partner to fix your flaws or fulfill your unmet needs. Psychologically, this leads to codependency, where your happiness hinges on someone else's actions. The Stoics, however, saw love differently. They believed that true fulfillment comes from within, through living a life of virtue. Love, then, is not about filling voids but about two people, each grounded in their own strength, creating something greater together. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, captured this beautifully in his Meditations. People exist for the sake of one another. Either teach them or bear with them. This isn't a call to complete others, but to connect with them in a way that elevates both. For Marcus, relationships were about mutual growth, not dependency. Imagine two trees standing side by side, each rooted deeply in its own soil, their branches intertwining without one leaning on the other for survival. This is love, as resonancia, harmony of two independent souls, each contributing to a shared melody. Let's contrast this with a modern example. Consider Emily, a graphic designer who believed love would fix her lack of confidence. She met Alex, a charismatic entrepreneur, and thought his success would boost her self-worth. At first, their relationship felt perfect. She leaned on his energy, his validation. But over time, Emily realized she was losing herself, molding her life to fit his. When Alex's attention shifted to his career, Emily felt abandoned, her insecurities rushing back. This is the trap of love, as completion. When you rely on someone else to define you, their absence or change leaves you hollow. Now, imagine Emily through a Stoic lens. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of one's desires, but by the removal of desire, applied to love. This means freeing yourself from the desire for a partner to complete you. Emily began practicing Stoicism, focusing on her own growth, honing her craft, setting personal goals, and reflecting on her values. When she entered her next relationship, she didn't seek a savior. Instead, she looked for someone whose life resonated with her, a partner who shared her commitment to growth and independence. Their love wasn't about filling gaps but amplifying each other's strengths. Seneca, the Stoic statesman, offers further insight. In his letters to Lucilius, he wrote, "No one can lead a happy life if he thinks only of himself and turns everything to his own purposes." Seneca's point is that love isn't about using someone to complete your story, it's about building a shared one. In his own life, Seneca's partnership with his wife, Paulina, was marked by mutual respect. They supported each other's virtues, not because they needed to, but because their lives aligned in purpose. This Stoic ideal of resonance means loving someone for who they are, not for what they can do for you. How does this differ from modern views? Today's culture often glorifies love as a cure-all, promising that the right partner will erase your doubts and make life perfect. Social media amplifies this, with curated images of perfect couples, fueling unrealistic expectations. But studies, like those from psychologist John Gottman, show that lasting relationships are built on mutual respect, shared goals, and independence, not on one partner fixing the other. Stoicism aligns with this. Love works best when both people are whole, bringing their strengths to the table rather than their wounds. Let's make this practical with a historical example. Consider the Roman general Agrippina and her husband, Germanicus, a couple admired in ancient times. Though their marriage was partly political, their bond was rooted in mutual respect and shared commitment to their family in Rome. Germanicus didn't rely on Agrippina to define his worth, nor did she lean on him to complete her. Their partnership resonated because each brought strength to the other, creating a legacy that endured. Stoics would approve. Their love was a collaboration, not a crutch. So, how do you cultivate love as resonance? First, build your own foundation. Reflect on your virtues: courage, wisdom, justice, temperance, and live them daily. Ask, am I someone I'd want to partner with? Second, seek alignment, not completion. When choosing a partner, look for someone whose values and goals resonate with yours, not someone to fill your gaps. Third, practice independence in love. Epictetus advised, demand not that events should happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will go on well. In relationships, this means supporting your partner's growth while maintaining your own. Here's a Stoic exercise to try. Each week, write down one way you've grown independently. Maybe you learned a new skill, faced a fear, or acted with integrity. Then, note one way your relationship or potential for one aligns with your values. For example, if you value honesty, how does your partner encourage that? This practice reinforces that love is about resonance, not dependency. Over time, you'll see relationships as a dance of two whole selves, not a desperate grasp for completion. By embracing love as resonance, you free yourself from the pressure to be fixed by someone else. You stop seeking a partner to define you, and instead seek one to walk beside you. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are rooted in independence and virtue, your love becomes a vibrant harmonia resonance that strengthens both you and your partner without compromising your path. Love is a battlefield not just of passion, but of expectations, rejections, and unrequited feelings. For men, these challenges can feel like tests of strength, worth, or identity. Society often pressures men to be stoic in the modern sense, emotionless, unyielding, always in control. But Stoicism, the ancient philosophy, offers a wiser path, not suppressing emotions, but mastering them. A Stoic man faces love's challenged expectations, rejection, and unrequited love with clarity, resilience, and a focus on what he can control. By applying Stoic principles, he navigates these trials without losing his path, emerging stronger and more grounded. Let's explore how a Stoic man tackles these obstacles with practical tools and timeless wisdom to guide him. Facing expectations in love. Expectations are the silent weight in every relationship. Society tells men they must be providers, protectors, or romantic heroes. Your partner might expect you to always be strong, successful, or emotionally available. You might even expect yourself to meet these ideals, tying your worth to how well you fulfill them. But Stoicism teaches that expectations, when unchecked, can lead to suffering. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." In love, this means focusing on your actions, not the expectations you can't control. Take James, a 35-year-old engineer who felt crushed by his partner's expectations. She wanted him to earn more, be more outgoing, and plan a perfect future. James tried to meet these demands, but the pressure eroded his confidence. He felt like a failure every time he fell short. Then he discovered Stoicism and reframed his approach. Epictetus's teaching, "You are not disturbed by things, but by the views you hold about them," helped James see that his partner's expectations were her judgments, not his reality. He couldn't control her demands, but he could control his response, living authentically, communicating honestly, and staying true to his values. How does a Stoic man handle expectations? First, distinguish between what's in your control and what isn't. You can't control your partner's expectations, but you can control how you act, whether you're kind, honest, or committed to growth. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask, are these expectations aligned with my values? If not, are they worth pursuing? Third, communicate with courage. A Stoic man doesn't silently resent expectations. He addresses them calmly, setting boundaries that honor both himself and the relationship. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By focusing on your own virtue, you meet expectations on your terms, not society's or your partner's." Dealing with rejection. Rejection stings. Whether it's a date who ghosts you, a partner who pulls away, or a relationship that ends, rejection can feel like a verdict on your worth. For men, cultural narratives often make rejection a blow to masculinity, pushing you to either lash out or withdraw. Stoicism offers a different path. See rejection as an event, not a reflection of who you are. Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Rejection is part of the human experience, not a personal failing. By accepting this, a Stoic man transforms pain into growth. Consider Michael, a 28-year-old teacher who faced repeated rejections in dating. Each no felt like proof. He wasn't charming enough, successful enough, attractive enough. He spiraled into self-doubt until he encountered Stoicism. Epictetus's words, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," shifted his perspective. Michael realized he couldn't control others' choices, but he could control his response. He began focusing on his own growth, improving his communication, pursuing his passions, and treating each rejection as a chance to learn. Over time, he not only found confidence, but also attracted a partner who valued his authentic self. To handle rejection like a Stoic, try this. First, practice premeditatio malorum, the Stoic exercise of visualizing challenges. Before a date or a difficult conversation, imagine being rejected and plan your response, perhaps gratitude for the experience or a commitment to keep growing. Second, reframe rejection as feedback, not failure. Ask, what can I learn from this? Maybe it's a chance to refine your approach or clarify what you want in a partner. Third, anchor your worth in your actions, not others' opinions. A Stoic man knows his value, lies in his integrity, not in someone else's approval. Navigating unrequited love. Unrequited love, loving someone who doesn't love you back, is perhaps the deepest cut. It's tempting to cling to hope, to change yourself, to win their affection, or to resent them for not reciprocating. But a Stoic man approaches unrequited love with dignity, accepting what he cannot change and focusing on what he can. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. Even when love isn't returned, you can still love virtuously by respecting their choice and honoring your own path." Take David, a 40-year-old entrepreneur who fell deeply for a colleague who saw him only as a friend. He spent months trying to win her, adjusting his behavior to fit what he thought she wanted. The more he tried, the more he lost himself, until he felt consumed by frustration. Stoicism offered him clarity. Seneca's advice, "If you wish to be loved, Love reminded David that love is about giving, not demanding. He chose to love her without expectation, appreciating her for who she was while letting go of his need for reciprocation. This freed him to focus on his own growth, and eventually, he found a relationship with someone who matched his energy. How does a Stoic man navigate unrequited love? First, accept the reality. You cannot control someone's feelings, but you can control how you express yours. Love them sincerely, without expecting a return. Second, practice amor, fatty love of fate. Embrace the situation as an opportunity to grow in resilience and self-awareness. Third, redirect your energy. Channel the passion of unrequited love into your own pursuits, whether it's a career goal, a hobby, or personal development. This keeps you grounded in your purpose. A Stoic exercise for love's challenges. Here's a practical Stoic exercise to face these challenges. Each evening, spend 5 minutes journaling. Expectations. Write down one expectation you faced today from yourself or others. Did it align with your values? How did you respond? And how could you respond more stoically tomorrow? Rejection. Reflect on a recent rejection, big or small. How did it feel? And what did it teach you? List one action you'll take to grow from it. Unrequited love. If you're holding on to unrequited feelings, write a letter not to send expressing your love without expectation. Then, list 3 ways you'll invest in your own path this week. This exercise, rooted in Stoic reflection, helps you stay focused on what you control: your thoughts, actions, and growth. Over time, it builds a resilience that makes love's challenges not obstacles, but opportunities. The Stoic man's strength. A Stoic man doesn't avoid love's challenges. He faces them with wisdom. Expectations become chances to clarify his values. Rejection becomes a teacher of resilience. Unrequited love becomes a lesson in loving without attachment. As Epictetus said, "What need is there to seek happiness outside yourself?" By anchoring his worth in his own virtue, a Stoic man loves fiercely, yet freely, never losing sight of the person he's building. This is the Stoic way: to meet love's trials with courage, to grow through pain, and to walk your path with unshakable strength. We've journeyed through the Stoic approach to love, uncovering a truth that challenges everything we're taught about relationships. Love, in its truest form, doesn't pull you away from yourself. It reminds you of the person you're striving to become. From the conditional nature of human connection to the inevitable changes in emotions, from the myth that love cures all to the power of resonance between independent souls, and finally, to the Stoic man's resilience in facing love's toughest challenges. We've seen how Stoicism transforms relationships into a path of growth, not a detour. As we close, let's tie these lessons together and explore how you can apply them to love fiercely, wisely, and without losing your way. Stoicism teaches us that life, including love, is about aligning with reality. We began by recognizing that love is conditional, rooted in our biology and psychology. Instead of resenting this, a Stoic embraces it, loving with clarity and intention. We learned that emotions shift like the tides, and rather than seeing this as betrayal, we can accept it as a natural law, staying grounded in our response. We debunked the idea that love is a cure, understanding that true strength comes from building your own foundation of virtue. We redefined love as resonance, a harmony between two whole selves, not a desperate attempt to complete each other. And for the Stoic man, we explored how to face expectations, rejection, and unrequited love with courage. focusing on what's within his control, his actions, his integrity, his growth. This brings us to the heart of the Stoic message. Love is not about losing yourself to someone else's story. It's about building a connection that strengthens the person you're becoming. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are rooted in self-reliance, virtue, and purpose, your love will reflect that strength. You'll love not out of need, but out of choice, not to fill a void, but to share a life. This is the Stoic way, to love with your whole heart while keeping your path clear. Let's make this personal. Think about your own relationships, past, present, or future. Have you ever felt pulled off course, chasing someone else's expectations, or hoping love would fix your pain? Have you struggled with rejection or the ache of unrequited feelings? If so, you're not alone. These are universal human experiences, but Stoicism offers a way through. By focusing on what you control, your values, your actions, your mindset, you can love without sacrificing who you are. You can face change without fear, rejection without shame, and unrequited love with dignity. This is your power as a Stoic, to live and love on your own terms. So, how do you start? Begin with a simple Stoic practice. Reflection. Each day, take 5 minutes to write down one way you've stayed true to your values in your relationships. Maybe you spoke honestly with a partner, set a boundary, or chose growth over comfort. Celebrate these moments. They're the building blocks of your path. Next, practice gratitude. As Seneca advised, we must love knowing that we will lose, and in that knowledge, love more fiercely. At evening, note one thing you're grateful for in your relationships, even if they've ended or changed. This keeps you grounded in the present, free from regret or longing. Here's a challenge to carry forward. Commit to one Stoic action this week. If you're in a relationship, have a courageous conversation about your shared values. If you're single, reflect on what resonance means to you. What qualities would align with your path? If you're healing from a breakup, practice amor fati, love of fate be, writing down one lesson the experience taught you. These small steps, rooted in Stoic wisdom, build a life where love enhances your strength, not consumes it. As you move forward, remember this. The Stoic path isn't about avoiding love's challenges, but embracing them as teachers. Every expectation, every rejection, every unrequited moment is a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. Epictetus said, "What need is there to seek happiness outside yourself? Your happiness, your worth, your path there within you. Love is the companion that walks beside you, not the destination you chase." So, go out and love boldly. Love with the clarity of a Stoic, knowing that true love doesn't ask you to forget yourself. It reminds you of who you're building. If this journey resonated with you, take the next step. Subscribe to Lab Stoic for more insights on living with purpose. And join our community in the comments to share your own Stoic lessons in love. What's one challenge you've faced in relationships? And how can Stoicism help you navigate it? Let's keep this conversation going. And together, let's build lives and loves that stand the test of time.